Hey guys, welcome to the fourth season of Health or High Water. I'm so excited. This is the very first episode of the fourth season, and now we get to introduce video for the first time. And I'm really excited to share this experience here with Coach Bronson. How you doing today, man?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me on, Tripp.
Oh, of course. Hit it off with Coach Bronson. We met in that one meeting. Just really hit off preventive care. Both Virginia, right?
Yes.
Yeah, both hit off because we're at least I was a Virginian for most of my life, so we got to reminisce on those kind of things, a little nostalgic there. But I'm super excited to dive in and talk to you about your story, how you got to where you are, where you're going. So all the viewers, please like, subscribe, share. Now that we can see our faces on this podcast, it's really cool. And please leave some comments. You know, we can't do this show without you guys. So without further ado, Coach Bronson, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
I appreciate it.
So tell me a little bit. Your mission really kind of touched my heart, man. Can you touch a little bit about on your mission, and let's get right into how you got to where you're at.
Yeah, it's kind of they kind of go together because the where I'm at now with the mission I currently have is really to start highlighting where I think things are being missed in sports nutrition. So I'm currently getting my doctorate in health sciences, and I have a master's in exercise science and health promotion with a concentration in nutrition. So I spend a lot of time. I've been clinically working in health and fitness for almost 15 years. And the one thing that I see consistently is a focus on one of two things: performance or body composition. And in the health and fitness space, everybody wants to lose weight. In the sports space, everybody wants to get better. They want to perform better, faster, stronger, all that kind of stuff. And what I'm seeing now more than ever, and the more I get into the data, the more I get into the research, the more I'm realizing that a lot of the nuance and the disagreements that we have in the nutrition space in general have to do with a hyper focus on energy management and not a consideration for metabolic function. And when I talk about metabolic function, what I'm talking about is everything about how our body works. That goes into where we have to have a discussion about recovery. We have to have a discussion about reducing the risk of injury. We have to have a discussion about managing hormones. We have to have a discussion about reducing overtraining and those types of things. I have a client right now who's been overtraining for years. He's dealing with overtraining syndrome. And the focus of everything that he's done has been to get better, and he's gotten better. But we all know in sports, everybody's going to tell you that to be a better player in your sport, it takes a higher level of specificity in the demands of that sport. And when we do that, many cases, we tend to shift away from how well is our body functioning for all of the other things that we do besides our sport, right? So I'm a great soccer player. I've got great agility. I got great burst speed. But I also have really bad knees and bad ankles, right? I'm a runner. I can't squat because my hips are so tight. It's hard for me to even sit down and go to the bathroom.
Right, right.
I can't sleep because I've been training in CrossFit so much to be competitive that my hormones are completely shot. I now have a cortisol imbalance that's messing up everything. And now my training is being impacted. Now I'm getting injuries all the time. There's just so many of these things that build up. And we tend to focus on training as the solution. It's all about managing your training. It's all about managing your recovery. You need to make sure that your maximum recovery volume is being managed. You're taking the brakes off. You're getting your deloads. You're doing all this stuff. And we don't think about, how is our food playing a role? What are the things that I'm eating? Because food is just about energy. We just need to worry about fueling our activity. We just need to worry about and we need to have enough protein to build muscle, and we need to have enough carbs to have energy. Well, what about your gut health? What about the runners who, after a 60 miles, I got ultra marathoners that I talk to who, one group follows one nutrition protocol, another group follows another nutrition protocol, And one of them, after 60 miles, they're puking, they're crapping, they can't handle any more gels. They don't know what to do. They're crashing, they're hitting a wall. And the other one, they show up with water and electrolytes and have a blast. 100 miles done. They don't have any of those gut issues. They don't have to worry about puking. They don't have to worry about crapping their pants while they're running down the road. So there's an impact in our performance while maintaining quality of life, physical freedom, independence, because here's the other aspect of this. Competition isn't lifelong. So what happens after you've spent 5, 10, 15, 20 years doing hyper-focused, very specific effort and training to be competitive, and then now competition season's over. That phase of your life is done for whatever reason. Now I've got to live my life, but I've got to literally repair all this damage because I didn't pay attention to these things ahead of time. And that's really where that's what my mission is now. And that comes from a morphing of starting out just trying to help people get fit, learning what fitness actually is, then learning what health actually is, then learning how nutrition plays a role, then understanding that we have a tendency to focus on specific measures instead of looking at a holistic view of all of these things, and just kind of putting these things together over the past 15 years and going, hey, wait a second, we're missing some big things here because we don't pay it. I think, just I'll finish on this note. I think in the effort of trying to make things simple for people to understand,
Yes.
we have oversimplified and then applied that to the standard and the expectation. So we've built a system where the simple answer has become the only answer,
I
right?
could
And
not
we
agree
don't
with
take the time to actually understand and explain. We're the experts and we still talk about calories. We're the experts and we still talk about, move more, eat less. And we don't take the time to say, wait a second, guys, there's more to it. Even though we know we've got the data, we can tell you there's more to it, but we don't teach that. And I don't understand why we don't do that.
I like everything that you said. Everyone listening, this is the utmost truth. Coach is laying down right now. One of the biggest things, and I like that you're into the science of this, quantifying, figuring out what's the numbers, what actually works. One thing that I've seen too, and I told you about my background with things, is redefining health is not just on the scale, right? Like, hey, listen, I lost 10 pounds. Well, 10 pounds of what, right? Body composition is important. Like if you're losing a whole bunch of muscle mass, that's bad. So I love that I love that you're taking calories. Sorry, excuse me. I love that you're taking calories out of the plate. So you're probably getting more to macro and micronutrients, right?
I haven't used calories with my clients in over 5 years. I just
Well,
ignore them completely. They're, as far as I'm concerned, they're pointless.
I have
They
to
don't tell
agree
me
with you.
anything.
Because even with the genetic test I get back, right? Like if I see someone has a propensity to not burn fat doing cardio, I'm not going to put them on a cardio program just because everyone says that burns fat. Like that is absolutely asinine for us. So I love what you're doing. I love the mission statement too, because it's real, right? Like, hey, listen, like you found a complete issue going on, and we had a guest come on, Lance Vieta. He was a high school football coach out in Colorado, and he was talking a lot about the degradation of youth sports.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I mean, just like the lack of participation, the injuries going up. And he was talking a lot about, and this is something I'm going to tie in here, is you're talking about overtraining. A lot of these kids are staying in the exact same sport
I hate it.
all year,
I hate it.
right? It's awful. Could you maybe go into like the benefits of maybe taking a little break from one sport and doing another one?
Well, so especially for kids, and even this is, I see this in adults. So
Right.
I got started, to get a little bit more background and where a lot of my philosophies come from. I got started in CrossFit. So I was in my mid 30s trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing. I'm getting fat. I need to do something. I'm falling apart. I had numerous issues. And I went on a cruise for my 40th birthday. I was 39, getting ready to go turn 40. Went on a cruise, met a guy doing this crazy workout in the gym on the boat. throwing like 60-pound, 70-pound dumbbells up in the air. Like, what is going on? I'm on the elliptical doing my cardio, and I'm like, okay, I got to go talk to this dude. So turns out he was a guy, he owned a gym in Miami, owned a CrossFit gym, and we worked out the entire week. He showed me, he introduced me to CrossFit, what it was. I was like, this stuff is amazing. I need to go try it out. Started going to a gym, couple years in, ended up getting trained, certified as a coach. A few years after that, opened up my own gym. And the whole methodology of CrossFit is based on, if you've ever heard of the sickness, wellness, fitness continuum. And it's the idea that every marker we have for sickness, wellness, or fitness is the same marker, just on a continuum. So we should be talking about strength markers as a health marker. We should be talking about how much muscle mass you have as a health marker, just as much as hypertension or A1C or any of the other stuff. All
Yes.
of these things matter. How well you can move, your range of motion, your ability to balance and walk up and down stairs is a marker of health. And that's really what kind of set all of this up in my head. Like, there's a lot of things involved, right? In CrossFit, we define 10 components of fitness, 7 essential movements, and then we all know with 3 metabolic pathways, right? There's dozens of combinations of things that people need to be doing in order to be healthy and fit. And from a performance perspective, when we talk about sports athletes, I don't know how many, and the easiest example for me to use is runners. How many runners I've had who have come to me when I own my gym or in other times and said, hey, it's my off season. I want to do something. I've been told I need to build some muscle and build some strength. Okay, cool. Fantastic. Let's do that. Let's come in. You're going to do CrossFit 3 months in their off season. And I tell them, here, I want you to try something. I want you to do something. For 3 months, stop running. Just come in here, learn how to move your body, learn a little bit more of how your body functions, build some coordination, build some balance, build some proprioception so you can feel what's actually happening in your body, get some strength and
Yes.
a different kind of metabolic capacity. We're going to get you some high intensity stuff. We're going to get you some sprint intervals. We're going to do other things. And then they take those 3 months, they work, they go for their first run and set a PR. And like, I don't understand anything about what just happened. And it's like, well, there's other things going on in your body. And what we did, and I'll just keep this really simple, when you establish a broader metabolic base, when you establish a broader foundation of physiological performance, everything gets better. And that's where hyper focusing on one sport for a kid is one of the dumbest things that a parent can do.
And again, I'm just gonna shut up and just let you talk this whole time. Man. You got it going on, man. And I got to agree. And you look at pretty successful athletes, right? Most of the top tier, they did more than one sport,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right? Like
for
the
sure.
track and all these different types of things, and it helped them. Like with football, like basketball helps you get some separation, right? Great for tight ends, great for receivers, those kind of things. So there's all
Well,
these.
there's another aspect that again we don't talk about is a child, particularly when we talk about kids, a child's ability to learn, process information, and react in multiple sports is only going to make them better in whatever sport they pick.
100%.
Right. So yeah, if all I ever do is this thing, there's going to be circumstances, there's going to be situations. You cannot prepare for everything just doing the same thing all the time. So being exposed to other things puts you in other scenarios. There's the whole psychological aspect of playing other sports because other sports may be more individually focused, other ones may be more team focused. There may be a back and forth, and building that psychological, I love this term that's been coming out more recently in the last few years, of resilience. Building that psychological resilience by exposing them to different scenarios and different requirements, as well as the physiological resilience of being exposed to different environments and stimulus and temperatures, playing conditions, all sorts of different things. The more resilient you can be, which is really just another term of the broader your metabolic base and the broader your physiological base is, the better you're going to be as an athlete.
Well, and to just to add on to that too, I feel like as connected as kids are today, and as much information that's coming in, there's not a lot of ethics being taught, right? And you talk about the social mental aspect of these multi sports. You're getting tons of different personalities and different scenarios. It's hard for us to teach these kids how to be proper adults
Mm.
without, like you said, exposing them to these different sports, different
Hmm.
parents, different
Hmm.
environments, all the seasons, all these different kind of things. So, do you see with the people you work with multiple sports, like do you see, especially kids adapting better that have these multiple different roles, like a basketball player, they're doing some music too, and maybe they're also doing golf or something like that. Do you see it?
Oh,
Do
that's
you
a
see
whole
them
nother
being?
discussion. Yeah. I don't work with a lot of kids, but from what I know about colleagues and what I've read, I think the broader the base in general, the more well rounded. And here's the key, this ties into what my mission is. The more well rounded and the more options they have down the road. Not every kid's making it to the NFL. Not every kid's making it to the NBA. So if you're putting all those eggs in one basket, you are setting the kid up for failure. There's some psychological and some mental things that you're setting your child up for,
Right.
making them think that that's the only thing that they've got. That's a pressure. That's a whole nother. Don't even get me going on the pressure that parents are putting on kids in sports these days.
Oh my
But
gosh, man.
yeah, so yes, I think kids need to be, because here's the deal. If you're a parent and you're not giving your child an opportunity to find out who they are, you're doing them a disservice, period. And the only way to do that is to expose them to enough things for them to figure it out.
Well, and then these kids that do, these multiple sports, what have you, and they see someone like you, and they're trying to get to that next level, you probably see them being so much more well rounded because there's some things that cross over with all sports.
Absolutely.
You know what I
100%.
mean?
Well, that's one of my favorite words is transferability. I use it in my gym. I use it in CrossFit when I'm training people, in any of my exercise programs. The key thing to understand, here's a perfect example why I don't usually coach or recommend cross-handed deadlifts. Because what other things do you do that way? Right now, if all I'm doing is, and I'm a power lifter and that is a specific thing, yeah, go for it. Have a blast. Do what you got to do. Okay. But for the average athlete, the average person who's just trying to get in shape, you don't pick things up that way in general. If you're doing a deadlift or a clean or any other kind of barbell movement, a bench press, you're not going to bench press cross grip, right? So there's a handful of things. It's not like you're going to try to go through and do things in your home and be like, oh, well, I deadlift this way. Let me pick this up and do all. No, like what is the thing that you're going to do that's going to cross over to the most other things that you do? And that's what I try to build programs and systems around what are the commonalities of all human movement.
Well, and a lot of it, now that I'm just kind of talking to you, it really boils down to just practical and essential movements.
Absolutely.
And that's like us sitting down and standing up, us being able to walk right. And
Hmm.
that transfers to all athleticism across the board, whatever sport you're doing, you know?
Absolutely. And it's metabolic as well. We're talking
Right.
about movement, but it's also metabolism. Being metabolically flexible, having an efficient metabolism from an energy management perspective, but also from a recovery perspective, doing things that aren't inhibiting muscle protein synthesis, that aren't inhibiting your hormone response. So, doing all of these things from a physiological perspective, a physical perspective, and from a biological or nutrition perspective has to have the least negative impact as possible, right? With the broadest amount of positive net benefit as possible. And we tend to be hyper focused in the performance aspect and throw the rest of that stuff out.
I couldn't agree more. And I feel like what you're working on is vastly more important, right? Because you're talking about fundamentals and macronutrients and these kind of things that really are essential building blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a client come in one time and they're like, "Oh, I'm on a fat-free diet because I found it on Instagram." And I'm like, "Your myelin sheath in your brain is conducted because of the
You might
fat.
need some of that. Yeah, you might need some of that.
I mean, I know there's good and bad fat, but I mean, there's a healthy dose of both.
Well, there's another phrase. There's two terms I love to use because I don't think they're used enough when it
Hmm.
comes to nutrition specifically, and that is adequate and minimum effective dose. And I don't think we use them nearly enough. Everybody wants to give a recommendation. This is how much you need. No, it's not. I'm very pro ketogenic diet. And one of my biggest frustrations with proponents of the ketogenic diet is prescribing an amount of ketones in the blood. I don't care if you have zero point 0.5 millimoles, 3 millimoles, zero point 0.2 millimoles of ketones in your blood. What I care about is your body producing them when it's needed and able to utilize what's there? Who cares about what level of ketosis? It's not about ketosis. It's about being metabolically flexible so that your body's burning fat as much as it can. It can generate and utilize the glucose or glycogen when it needs it, and the ketones are there to fuel the brain. And you can flux back and forth. And sometimes you're using more carbs, sometimes you're using more fat, sometimes you're using more ketones. The ability to move between all of that and how efficiently you move between all of that is what we should be focusing on, not prescribing a, well, you need this much. I don't know what I need until I figure it out. And what I need is going to be different than what you need.
Do you ever find it like hard to when you're working with athletes that and again this is just because I'm speaking for myself is I've always been well, maybe not the past 5 years, been so stubborn with the way I train, what I eat my bedtime. If I don't do it exactly like this, I'm gonna freak out.
It's like a
Do you?
superstition
Yeah. Do you ever have issues almost trying to like unwire an athlete's brain into thinking differently like this?
all the time. And it's not just athletes, everybody.
Right.
Everybody's got a belief system or things that they've been taught or that they have bought into that in many cases has a little bit of ego because it takes killing that ego to say, maybe I don't have this right.
Right.
And I get people that say, well, you think you know everything. No, I don't know everything, but I've tried a lot of other things and they didn't work for me, right? I've been on a journey for a long time trying to figure a lot of this stuff out. And I've figured what has worked for me and I've been able to take the concepts. I'm very, very big. One of my foundational ideas for how I put my method together is marry principles, not protocols,
I
right?
like that.
The principles and the concepts behind why something is working is always going to get you further than what you're doing to make it work.
Agreed, man.
Because what you're doing may not need to be the same thing I'm doing, but we can follow the same principles, right? And here's an example. If you've heard of PSMF, protein sparing modified fast. Okay. The core concept of PSMF is increase your protein and reduce your fat. I can increase my protein by simply adding 5 grams of protein to a meal per day. I increase my protein by 15 to 20 grams a day. But I don't have to do PSMF to do that, right? The principle is increase your protein. So we tend to do extremes. Well, that's where PSMF comes from. That's an extreme version of increase your protein. When I work with somebody, I say, how much protein are you getting? Hey, maybe we need to up that a little bit. Why don't you try adding 5 grams per meal? Or one of my common recommendations is whatever amount of protein you're getting in each meal now, just take half of that and add it.
Right.
So if you're eating 3 eggs or 2 eggs every morning, eat 3. If you're eating 6 ounces of steak at dinner, eat 10 or eat 9.
Right.
Right? Just whatever the half is, add that in, and don't worry about getting crazy with trying to measure everything specifically, whatever it may be. But the idea of there are principles of things. Autophagy is another one. Everybody wants to toss, oh, we need to do this for autophagy. Exercise increases autophagy. One of the biggest mistakes I see in the ketogenic space is everybody wants to go ketogenic because keto is a fasting mimicking diet, which is fantastic. And that's why it has become what it is, because it's great for autophagy, mitophagy. There's a whole bunch of great things that happen. But then they also say, well, I also need to intermittent fast for autophagy. Oh, and then I'm also going to start exercising for autophagy? Like, how much stuff do you need to do for autophagy? Like, let's get this word out of your head, right? Like, one thing at a time. What's the minimum effective dose? Maybe the first change you need to make is just stop drinking Coke every day, right? And so, adequate protein, adequate exercise, adequate nutrition, and then what's the smallest change you can make to see a benefit? Right? We don't need 25 grams of creatine every day. Do you see a benefit from 5? Is a great example.
Well, 100%, man. And I've been so into this conversation, I totally forgot we have a quick sponsor shout out.
Okay.
So, guys, we've been working with Gene Planet for about 2.5 years now. Been seeing some really crazy results because we're able to see someone's full program, all the way from workouts to sleep, metabolic function, metabolic disease, cancer, even injury risk and prevention. And we're able to quantify this with blood work, movement screening, family medical history, use AI to come up with 360 wellness degree programs. So if you guys are interested in getting your DNA done, it's just a quick spit test, takes about 6 weeks. Go on to www.geneplanet.com, click on that premium test, and enter code APT for 30% off. That's code APT for 30% off. If you guys have any questions and want a free consult, please reach us at www.throughfire.fit. So, Coach, getting towards the end here, I know you do some work with veterans. I did a veteran outreach workout program a while back. Worked with some veterans back in the late 2000 teens. And I want to know a little bit about real quick, what you do with veterans, how that kind of started.
Yeah, so right now the big thing I have going on is I'm doing a fundraiser. I have a colleague of mine who owns a clinic, a medical clinic in New York, and we're trying to raise money. He's got a 12-month metabolic rehabilitation program. And I don't know if you know the statistics or the numbers about how bad metabolic syndrome is in the veteran community. It's it, I don't I wish I had the numbers up in front of me, but it's staggering the percentage of veterans that have diabetes, insulin resistance, obesity, hypertension, cardiovascular disease outpaces the average community, like the average population. And I'm not sure if you're aware, or if your listeners are aware at how poorly managed the Veterans Health Administration is and the care that is not being provided. Particularly the biggest issue being that the care that is being provided is based on science guidelines and recommendations that we all know don't work. And I actually have another colleague who had to leave the system because he was getting in trouble for educating his patients outside of the standard of care, even though we have data showing that his specific clinic was performing better from a health recovery, reduction of medication, improvement in obesity, reduction in diabetes than other clinics, right? So we know it works, we know what works, but VA doesn't let it happen. So one of the things that we're looking to do, and I'm hoping this is something that picks up. Right now, we're just doing a fundraiser to get one person through the 12-month program. It's like $3,500. Get one person through the 12-month program. We want to see how it goes, see what there's a study done on the program. So Dr. Tro in New York, if anybody wants to look him up, he's got a couple published papers on the effectiveness of his program. And the last one that came out a few months ago, I think shows that 12 months in his program outperformed GLP-1s from an obesity and weight loss and metabolic, because here's the thing, it's also about metabolic recovery and metabolic rehabilitation. And it's not just weight loss, right? Medications coming down, all sorts of other things without the risk of losing muscle and all the other potential side effects of what is happening with GLP-1s now. So that's what we're really focusing on, trying to raise money to get somebody into that.
Well, man, I want to get that out there. Is there any place people can donate to that or
There's a
find my
GoFundMe, which I can send you the link, but yeah, there's a GoFundMe going on right now for sure.
perfect? Well, you guys go down there and click on that link below. Donate. Let's see some veterans get some help, and every little bit helps, even if it's $1.50. Just please
Yes,
donate what you
that'd be
can.
awesome.
Getting to the end here, where can people find you? Website? Do you what's going on?
Yeah, super easy. CoachBronson.com. Done and done. And then on all the social medias and YouTube and everything else, it's Coach.Bronson.
Well, you guys go check out everything Coach Bronson is doing. I've had just one of the most amazing conversations today with him on all these things, all these different intricacies that really matter when it comes to preventive functional health for us and for athletes. Coach, thank you so much for coming on here. Make sure you guys click on the links below, check him out. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, sharing, and if you guys are interested in genetic tests, use that code APT for 30% off. You guys have a good one, and we'll see you guys on the next episode of Health or High Water. Thanks.